Today is October 15, 2025, and this is our 5 o'clock work session. So I would ask everybody to join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, I believe Miss Julia Rome is with us today for a blessing. How are you doing?
Thanks.
I would stand the microphone, please.
Just this way?
Yeah, if not, TV land can't hear us.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Julia Rome from the Baha'i Faith, and this is a prayer for all of you and for unity. O my God, verily I invoke thee and supplicate before thy threshold, asking thee that all thy mercies may descend upon these souls. Specialize them for thy favor and thy truth. O Lord, unite and bind together the hearts, join in accord all the souls, and exhilarate the spirits through the signs of thy sanctity and oneness. O Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Strengthen the loins of thy servants in the service of thy kingdom. O Lord, thou possessor of infinite mercy, O Lord of forgiveness and pardon, forgive our sins, pardon our shortcomings, and cause us to turn to the kingdom of thy clemency, invoking the kingdom of might and power, humble at thy shrine and submissive before the glory of thy evidences. Verily, thou art the Almighty, the self-subsistent, the giver, the forgiving, the pardoner, the omniscient, the one creator. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here with us tonight. Alrighty. Now, public comments. Or do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything tonight? Alrighty, seeing none, I'm going to invite Mr. Duke Wilburn up for a road department update. Good evening, Duke.
Good evening.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
We're doing good. Thank you.
Just like to give a quick little update what the road crew's been doing the last couple of weeks. We've done some work up at Station 10. It's not complete yet. We dug out some base failures around behind the station in the driveway area. Had the culvert crew out working on our last round of mowing for the season. I think they're out in District 6 right now. Got the mow trim out running. Dustin's been out mowing Duckers, trying to get it cleaned up for the fall. And did get us some salt delivered. We got 800 ton delivered last week, and there's another 800 ton on order, so should be in good shape.
Now, you're going to promise that we don't need to use it at all this winter. We're just going to hold it for somebody?
I hope it all stays in there.
All right, that's what I thought. That's what
It'd be nice.
Yeah, that's what we had talked about.
Yeah, so. We did start our leaf collection Monday, and it'll be Mondays and Wednesdays east side town, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays on the west through December 18th. That's all I got. Y'all got something else for me?
Well, before I open it up, I think the court knows that Duke has decided to leave us. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for Franklin County. You helped us get an amazing building built down there, and you've done a lot of positive things. So I know you have a lot of things going on with your own business and retirement and everything. And I just want to say thank you. And I want to open up to the court. If anybody wants to say anything. Squire Tanner.
For anybody that knows the answer, since it is becoming rut season for deer traveling everywhere and be run over constantly everywhere, what is the policy? Is there a policy for the road, for a deer carcass on a county right of ways?
Yeah, we normally don't pick them up, you know, unless they're in a hazardous spot or what have you, something like that, but danger to the public.
So if it's on the shoulder of a road and it's not causing any harm, you
Right,
basically
we
let
don't-
Mother Nature
We
take
normally
care of
don't fool with it, right?
it, unless it's in
It
the middle
winds
of
up
the
in
road.
somebody's yard, is that, I just want to make sure I understand, well, I've already had some calls about it, and it's going to get worse. I don't know whether it is.
Right.
Who knows where, as far as
Yeah.
that goes, but.
I mean, we
The
do
answer
have a
is-
composting
The answer
facility,
is, we're not
but
going to do it.
we normally don't, that's all I have to say, Richard.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, if it's a bad nuisance, we'll pick it up, you know.
State usually will on the state highways though, right? They'll collect them most of the time.
Sometimes they do.
I've not had any luck with them.
They'll drag them off in the ditch, what they do to them. Sometimes, I should say.
Squire Blackburn.
I just wanted to thank you for what you've done for our community and wish you the best in what you do moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate all the support I've gotten from Michael and Jack and the court. It helps a bunch.
Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. I think your leadership has done quite a bit at the road department. You have helped shepherd a new facility. You and the staff are taking tremendous pride in all of the new equipment that the court has been able to fund. Some of the things that we haven't been able to replace, you guys have gone in and improved that by painting it and working to extend the life expectancy of our equipment. And we haven't seen that in the past, and that has been tremendous. You guys are spending a lot of your effort on actual road work and not a lot of other things. And I think that is a wonderful thing for this court, but it's even better for the community. All of the things that you guys are doing day in and day out are demonstrated in the community. And, you know, I hear from people and they're like, wow, you know, we've had ditching in our area and we haven't had ditching in a long time. Or they've been through 3 times and mowed the right-of-way on these county roads, and so our sight lines are improved. And those are my words, not theirs, but a lot of the comments that I'm getting have all been positive. And we know from this body that you guys are the backbone of county government. You're constantly helping at the park. You're constantly helping with solid waste issues. So you guys are called on a lot of times to shore up other things. The staff is working with the fire department, you know, to provide maintenance on the vehicles. You know, I'm sure we all have an hour's worth of accolades to lay out there, but all of that has been done while you have been our county road supervisor. And thank you's not big enough. Those 2 words aren't big enough from me.
Thank you.
Squire Harris.
Duke, I just want to say thanks for everything you've done. Anytime I've called, anything done, if it was, you know, in the county, it's taken care of. There's no checking back on it. You call it in and it's done. And I appreciate that very much because, you know, when people call me, I call you and it's done, and they call and thank, that means the world. So I appreciate everything you've done. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Squire Tanner.
Well, when I remember when we went out to the old road department, there's a pile of steel on the ground. Now you go out there and look at it and you'll see what Duke oversaw, the construction of that whole entire complex, and it's a great job. It couldn't have got done if you hadn't known what you were doing. And people should go by and look. It's nice. And it was a pile of steel on the ground. I saw it.
That's very nice.
Squire Winston.
Judge, I would like to remember that we had one hellacious winter, and then immediately we had our community's worst flood, and the road department did it all. I mean, around the clock, 24 hours work there for a while, and a lot of thank you goes out to you and the whole department for what you've done. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, we had Squire Winston, that's a good point, and then we had a little thing called a flood too. If you remember?
Said that. Yeah, it's the first flood in our
I mean, that was
community's history.
I mean, it was dumpster after dumpster. I felt like that's all we talked about every single day.
He was mentioning the second one.
Yeah, first and second, yeah.
In 1 year.
Yep, so.
It's been a 2-year run, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Duke, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, now we're gonna get to the judge's report. On September 25th, we had our first active shooter training next door at the county clerk's office. You know, we've talked about that a lot. Unfortunately, in the society we're living, it's something we have to consider. So I appreciate the sheriff and I believe that was Captain Wells that worked on that. 26th, went to a really cool breakfast at the school board. Mark Kopp ran it. Community leaders. And he's going to start doing it quarterly, just talking about how they're trying to improve education here in Franklin County. So give a lot of credit to Mark and his staff for putting that on. Same day, the Sheriff's Department did an amazing thing like they do every year and had the fishing derby. I think that little kid there was trying to show Richard Sandiford how to fish. So he said, I couldn't tell you how many things I got out of the trees. So yeah, that was a great time, and appreciate everybody helping with that came out. That evening, we had the Governor's Roundtable. They showed the new movie about the floods, I think back in 22 in eastern Kentucky, and how they're rebuilding using a lot of the old mines and things like that. So that was nice to be up there with the governor. The 28th, we had the Huntington Woods. Appreciate Squire Tanner inviting us, and Allie went. We also had a couple representatives from the solid waste from Republic Services, and that meeting went very well. I appreciate them inviting us. 29th, I believe Jack and Jenny and myself went to the Dominion for a chili cook-off. So they had, it was kind of a blind deal, and I believe it was all the people that worked there. There was, how many, Jack, 12, 10? 12 chilies to choose from, so they picked a winner. So that was fun. I was glad we were invited to that. Same day on the 29th was a huge milestone for Buffalo Trace. It was our 9 millionth barrel. That was a great turnout. It was a beautiful day. And there was a lot of good speakers there. Freddie, he had an amazing story about his journey and some people he's met, and somehow, fluke deal, he was related to the guy who he was hanging out with. He was 95 years old. He didn't even know it. So their families back, many, many years ago knew each other. So I mean, we're related. So that was a very, very nice thing. And a lot of the magistrates were there. So I appreciate you all coming out to that event to show support. On the 29th, we had a big announcement. The community announcement was about the Indoor Aquatic Center and Wellness Center that we are working on with the City of Frankfort and the Franklin County School Board. So we are still working on that. We had a meeting about that today, so we're trying to kind of get an RFP put together. It's going to take a little bit because it's going to be a little bit of a complex RFP, but we are working on that. So that's an exciting thing for our community. On the 30th, I attended the official opening of the Stewart Gallery, and a lot of that credit goes to Charles Stewart, who has been a huge supporter of the Grand Theater since it opened, probably 20 years ago, I believe. So can't thank the Stewart family enough for their involvement in our community, especially the Grand Theater. On October 1st, the Fallen Firefighters Memorial was held at Juniper Hills. Unfortunately, I was out of town. I appreciate Deputy Kennedy for speaking for us, and he did an amazing job. So I appreciate the firefighters doing that here in Frankfort, and I know it means a lot to our community and to the state. It's attended very, very well. So I appreciate everything our fire department does to work with the city to support that. On the 4th, the Recovery Cafe Pancake Breakfast Celebration, and I believe our very own Squire Dykes presented the proclamation that I prepared, or let's be honest, Jenny prepared for me for the National Recovery Month. So I appreciate Squire Dykes doing that, because I know that's near and dear to her heart. So thank you very much. Same weekend was Bourbon on the Banks Festival. I heard it was amazing. Tons of people. Tickets were sold out months in advance. Still don't know how they get all those people down on that river along the path and in downtown, but it was a great thing. On the 8th, I met with our new field rep for Senator McConnell's office. Her name is Hallie Tipton. She's actually worked in that office for a couple of years under Stephanie Nelson. If you all remember, that was our old representative that has moved on to another career. So they are hopefully going to be helping with some things. On the 9th, I attended a Franklin County Community Fund celebration at Liberty Hall. It was actually the 10-year anniversary of that fund. So it's an amazing fund that, you know, people contribute to, and we're trying to do some legacy projects through Frankfort and Franklin County, and we'd even talked that night about, you know, working with us on the aquatic center and the wellness center. So hopefully we'll work on that. On the 10th, our very own Squire Sebastian was playing, her band was downtown for the Witches Night Out. There's Susie Hosley, our DFI director. I did not come, but I heard there was literally thousands of witches. They said it was elbows and elbows just of people everywhere. So it's a great event that brings a lot of people to our community, especially from Louisville and Lexington. Word's gotten out, and I don't understand it, but people like to dress up as witches. So that's a thing. And there's probably a lot of alcohol involved too, so but that's okay. So, but we appreciate DFI putting that on in downtown. On the 11th was the Capitol Pride Festival in downtown. People from all over. I went down, and it was probably the first time since I've taken office that I walked down St. Clair Mall that was packed and didn't know one person. I mean, and it was really interesting that we're in our own town, and I walked and I was like, I know nobody here, you know, but there's so many other communities represented. So I did eventually run into some people I knew, but so they had a great turnout. And then on the 11th, it was actually the Kentucky State University homecoming. It was the parade, it was the game that day. They couldn't have asked for better weather. It was an amazing day. So seriously, yeah, we missed each other. I ran out right before you got there. So that was at the game itself. So it's
And they won.
yes, they did. They did, and that was during the day. There was a ceremony that they do, and they were priding their 50 golden class was there from 75, and there was, I don't know how many people, it was at least 50 or 60 people, and they all dressed in gold robes and hats. But during the ceremony, they added an area to thank Frankfort, Franklin County and Frankfort for all the amazing work we did during the flood. So they presented us. I appreciate Sheriff Depp being there as well, with a plaque just saying thank you for supporting them during the flood. So, and then on the 13th, I went to the annual conservation dinner out at the KSU farm, and that was attended by a lot of great people. Yesterday I spoke at the Dig Luncheon. They had Penny Peeble, our economic development person, and Brad Thomas with the energy group. I wasn't expected to speak, but they asked me to, so I can usually speak if somebody asks me to. So let them know all the good things that we had going on in our community, and that was all very, very positive. And now I am going to, before I do one thing, upcoming events, we're looking at the 28th. So magistrates, we're looking to do a ribbon cutting at the new road department at 4 o'clock that day. Jenny should have sent that invitation out this afternoon. And then we're also looking that same week on the 30th of doing a town hall meeting about our new park. That will be at 4 o'clock at the health department. So you should have gotten that sent out to you this afternoon. So hopefully everybody can make it. Trying to schedule everything's pretty tough. So. And now the coolest thing about my judge's report is I'm going to ask Chief Brewer to come up. We have a bunch of amazing wives, husbands, families, kids, everybody's. I walked in and I looked at Jack. I was like, holy, what are all these people doing here? He said, Judge, remember the pinning? I said, the pinning, that's right. So, Chief, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you all. First, just on behalf of the department, I'd like to thank Duke and his road crew for everything they've done for us. They've been a huge help in getting our training facility up and going. And also all the repairs at the stations, things like that. Duke's always on top of it. His crews always do great work. So just want to say thank you first. Next, we're going to call up, with the recent retirements we had back in September, we haven't had a chance to do the official pinning ceremony for these guys. So something we definitely want to do, and we're just going to call them up one at a time with their families. So we'll start with Josh Degnan. Josh was promoted from engineer, or firefighter to engineer. And you can step on up front and then introduce your family if you like.
Josh Sagan, engineer. This is my son Ethan and my wife Lindsay.
Very nice to meet you all. Thank you for being here.
They're always a pain.
Gosh, you look a little worried, like she's gonna stick you or something.
He had the right idea to pre-stick the holes.
That was good
It's not
thinking,
easy
yeah,
to
no.
those
Yeah, 'cause
holes
it's got
with the
plastic
little
tabs.
tank.
Yeah,
That's exactly
that-
right.
that plastic tab.
I'm with you.
You gotta find it.
I'm with you, man.
It's like a Cub Scout move there. He's trying to figure out why that guy's taking his picture.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
why
seem
does
to
this guy keep
impressed.
taking my picture.
I am just really talking. You got it.
Yeah, I'll take a picture.
Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Gonna do one or two more. 1, 2, and 3, and one last two. There we go.
Next up, we have firefighter Jacob Toles, who was promoted to captain. He's here with his family.
I'm David Toles, this is my wife Sarah, my son Carson, and my daughter Peyton.
Love your dress. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Dad's got a lot of holes to do there.
I think it's boots.
Yeah. Andrew, make sure when they turn around as a family, you get her in the picture too.
All right.
Kind of hiding down there. You didn't get all dressed up or nothing.
Well, I get him up, I just look at her. I gotta look more.
Did he pre-stick his hole?
No pressure, Sarah. Everybody's staring at her. Yeah.
Finishing piece, okay?
I let Andrew get a picture.
There we go. That's the one shot.
That's a shot there.
That's the
Yeah,
one
that's the one.
Hey.
All right, love that smile.
I got this. I know that. It's like, I know
Thanks, Chief.
what to do. Exactly what to do.
Next up, we have Brandon Redding, who's promoted from engineer to captain.
Brandon, this is my wonderful wife, Leah, and our amazing daughter, Mackenzie.
Very nice to meet you all.
Y'all want to come
Yeah.
up? Sure.
Tell her to come up and do it.
Mackenzie, you sure you don't want to put one of those pencils on there? It's your chance.
Just take the back of your hand and stick it on him.
Yeah.
Give it a good hit.
Did he make you mad today, Lee?
That was great.
They've been watching everybody else, you know?
Come up. Perfect. All right, guys, very nice. We're gonna take a bunch, so just smile and one more at a time. All right. All right.
And last but not least, we have Eric Mertz, who's promoted from captain to assistant chief.
My wife Sherry, my son Nick, and my daughter Hannah.
Very nice to meet you all.
You can't tell who she belongs to.
It's like, I got it.
That's cool. Andrew might run out of film.
Never, never.
Yeah, my kids always say, "What's film, Dad?"
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Oh, yeah, I remember. You write everything on them, yeah.
Got plenty of film.
Hang on.
1, 2, 3.
He's a little harder to recognize now.
I recognize him better now.
Just want to say thank you all, letting us recognize their hard work and dedication that led them to this point, and excited about their next chapter in their career.
Well, and on behalf of the Fiscal Court, I just want to say congratulations to everybody that was just celebrated, but more importantly, I want to thank your families. You know, it's a big deal to be a firefighter, first responder, so just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alrighty. Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say, run while you can.
See you sometime.
See you, Phil, you leaving?
Thank you all. Thank you all.
approval of our minutes from our regular meeting, September 24th, 2025. Any thoughts, concerns, comments on that? Seeing none, the approval of minutes from our special meeting of September 29th. Alrighty, and then after that,
Just
yeah.
1 second, sorry, there was something, there was,
On which one, Squire?
that's what I'm trying to find,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yep.
The digital doesn't let me make notes very easily, right? I believe it was on the first minute, there was an item that was motioned, but it didn't record a vote for everyone. And I'm sorry, I'm not finding it again very fast. Just that there was one of the items that recorded a motion and a second, but didn't have a vote for the rest of the body.
Okay.
recorded
Do you
on
remember
it.
if that was on the 24th, Squire, or the 29th?
I think it was on the 24th document, but I'm not finding it again very fast here, sorry. So just note that if you would.
Okay, yeah, we'll, Kim, can you make note of that? We'll go back and look at that,
Yes.
please. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Squire. Next, I believe our sheriff is with us, Dwayne Depp, and he's here to talk about some excess fees. How you doing, Sheriff?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thanks for asking. And Judge, if I may, I learned a long time ago, in order to be a good leader, you first must be a good follower. So I'm going to follow the court and the fire chief and just say thank you to Dookie for all the things that you've done for the sheriff's office. Time after time, if we called him, he was there. He assisted, he helped, he didn't complain, he didn't whine. And not only you, but your staff, and that has a lot to do with leadership. So just wanted to publicly say thank you for what you've done for the sheriff's office. Really appreciate it. In front of you, court, what you have is the determination letter from our 2023 tax settlement. What we did, we were going through the audit. The auditor determined that we had made some overpayments. That's traditionally going to happen. It's due to a rounding error in the computer software. So what the auditors suggested we do is to write some small checks back to the court as far as for overpayment, and we did that. And that in the packet you should have a copy of the check and the overpayments that we sent back to the court for excess fees.
All righty, any questions from the sheriff on what we have in front of us? Squire Blackburn?
I just wanted to point out, since everybody can't see at home what's going on, I think the total overpayment was $128.
That's
everyone
correct,
combined.
yes.
So it's just $128.
That is correct, yes.
And
We're not
very
talking a
small
whole lot.
error.
Very small, yes.
And the thing is that typically comes from rounding
It is correct.
of like $50 million.
Yes, we collect
Right?
about $50 million.
So I want to be really clear to add
Correct.
to that. So, just so we all understand that it was not a clerical error.
That is correct.
It comes from a rounding. It's a rounding error.
Yes, thank you all for that. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anybody else? Squire Westman, do you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Judge, if I could just ask for a clarification. There's a $100 check made out to the court, but $128 in overpayment estimation. I just was wondering what the discrepancy.
I can explain that to you. So in your packet, you should have,
It has an asterisk.
yes,
For
a
the
couple of
$28.
asterisks, one to the state and one to the county. The auditor had advised us that we would not be able to get that $9 back from the state.
Yep.
Also advised us the $19 for the county, that we would not be able to do anything with that either. So he suggested that we write a check back for $100. So that $28 makes up the state and to the county.
Thank you. Just wanted it on the record.
Yes.
Thank you, Sheriff. And I believe next agenda item is about the property tax bills.
Yes, sir. So in your packet, you would also have the 2025 tax roll for our office and also for the clerk's office. The interesting thing about it for this year, it is higher. The tax roll is higher this year than what it was last year. Don't know the exact total amount, but I think if you add the total, I think it's a little bit over $500,000 more this year than what it was last year.
All right, any questions for Sheriff on that agenda item? All righty, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Next, I believe our clerk is with us, Mr. Jeff Hancock. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Judge?
We're doing wonderful. Thanks for asking.
You know, I think a couple of things. I want to first thank the sheriff's office. They did the active shooter training at my office. Not only were they courteous, they were very understanding not to scare or intimidate or make it something that my employees and the clerks could understand. So they did a really nice job. They've even offered to teach a self-defense class and a CPR class that we're going to do in the following months. So really great program. And the sheriff's office and the city police did a really nice job. You had mentioned that earlier, so I want to make sure. On the property taxes, that he gave you, the $50,372,000 and change, I want to point out that where the breakdown of that goes, that $5 million of it goes to the state, $7 million of it goes to the county, $29 million go to the schools, $867,000 goes to the extension, $3 million goes to the library, $2 million go to the health department, and $367 go to conservation. The reason I want to point that out is because anytime that we're collecting a property tax bill, it's automatically blamed directly on the county, local elected leaders, and I want everybody to know that this breakdown of what the tax bill, it goes to a lot of different entities. We're not taking we're not taking 50 million and spending it right here. So I feel like the public should know that and know what their tax bill breakdown looks like.
Thank you for clarifying that, because that is a misconception.
Yeah. And then last but not least, my quarterly report right now, I still feel like we're going to hit all of our budgeted line items. We are well ahead on our excess fees right now, but we still have payments out there. We still have a security system that we have to get in before this election cycle starts. We are putting in a completely new camera system that can all be downloaded through the cloud, so we can have direct cameras on our voting equipment and direct cameras on the areas in which any voting is taking place. And what I mean by that, you all so kindly allowed us to move all the way across that second floor. We have to have cameras on the outside of those doors, so anytime election equipment's stored in them, we can verify for up to 60 days. So you have to think about it. Elections start 45 days before and go 45 days after, plus the 15 extra. So we have to be able to store for 120 days. We have gotten a couple bids on that. We're still working on that, but we are putting in a full camera system for the full lower level of my building over at the annex. And the second level, it will be on the areas in which we use for the elections.
Perfect. What questions do we have for our clerk tonight? Court, anybody? Jeff, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everything your team does next door. And I did hear that the shooter training went very well, so I'm appreciative that you all were able to shut down just a little bit early, and I think it worked out for everybody's schedule, so I think we'll be doing more of those, so.
Yeah, and the sheriff's office and the city police did a wonderful
Yeah,
job.
good. Thanks for saying something.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Jeff. Have a good evening. All righty. Next, I believe Duke is going to come back up. You're going to miss doing this, aren't you, Duke?
Yeah.
You know, public speaking. I can tell it's one of your favorite things.
My favorite part.
That's your favorite part of your job, has been coming to these meetings and public speaking. I
Yep.
mean, you might just have to keep coming to the meetings, you know?
I may.
What do you got in front of us?
This is a abstract for change order on the fuel tanks. The fire marshal required us to have hose retractors on the nozzles. So just safety, keep somebody from leaving it in a vehicle and driving off. When you let loose of the handle, it retracts it back to the fuel tank. So that wasn't in the original bid. They wanted like almost $3,000 for these. But we asked them, you know, if we installed them, the majority of that was installation. So Cody and I actually put them both in an hour, installed them. So all we're paying here is for the equipment.
Okay, now where's the money coming from?
It'll be coming out of the capital projects
Okay,
fund.
okay.
Yeah.
And both.
I think it said LGEA, but it's capital. Yeah, okay.
Thank you all.
Absolutely. So are the tanks completely functional?
Yes,
We have off-road
they
and
are.
on-road?
Yep,
Yeah.
we've got final inspection from fire marshal. We're using it. So,
Good deal.
yeah, it's good.
All right, any questions for Duke while he is still with us tonight? All righty. Thank
y'all.
you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cody.
Yep, thank you, Cody. I appreciate your help on that project too. All righty, the next one is the grand, we had first reading last court. So I just want to say publicly that I think there's been a lot of misconception out there exactly what this is. You know, this is just to continue what we've been doing the whole time. This is not a new 2% tax or anything like that, and this is something that comes from the hotel. So basically people visiting our community, it's not our constituent per se unless they're renting hotel rooms. So we had a public hearing prior to this. Nobody came to speak for or against it, and we also looked at emails and letters and snail mail. Nobody sent anything in. So this is our second reading. These next two agenda items that have to do with basically helping the Grand kind of refinance, get 1.8 million, and I believe like they had talked before, that's going to go to renovations such as new seats, air condition, lights, sound system. I think that was all of them, and unless anybody can remember anything else, I believe that was the four that they're going to be using this money to update the facility, which is an amazing facility. It brings a lot of people in downtown Frankfort and to Franklin County. Trying to think what else I have to say about this. Does anybody have any questions on these two agenda items? Because this is our second reading tonight on this item. Squire Whistler.
Judge, just a comment. I appreciate that the amendments were made to reflect the treasurer, that it had a mislabeled mechanism on there before, but just wanted to, if we could, just elaborate on what you said.
Yep.
You know, the Grand Theater was developed with this program in place since the very beginning. The legislature gives, you know, communities of a certain size that have hotels,
Yep.
the ability to take a 2 cents on each room,
Yep.
additional tax to fund projects like this, because local government is so limited in what our revenue sources can be, so that every community technically that has a hotel or multiple hotels could be eligible to do something like this, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just a theater like this. It has to be a public art facility,
Could be arts
effectively.
museum.
Yeah,
Correct.
fine arts.
Yes.
So this, you know, just imagine that once this debt service is done in the future for this community, this fund could be used to do something else. There's been talks for years about why don't we have a public art museum with Paul Sawyer and all this kind of thing in this community, or why don't we have a concert venue?
Yep.
You know, it has to be within the downtown proper, within the commercial core of the community, but just, you know, there has been a lot of comments in the community about why are we doing this? This is not anything new.
Yeah.
And this is a mechanism to be able to really put some fun, quality of life things in this community in the future. I just want us to all be more open to when these things come up. Now, this is going to take up that debt service for the next 10 years or more. Maybe it'll be paid off faster if you know, growth happens. But it is one of those tools in the toolbox that we're given by the legislature that we're so limited with to do these kinds of things for a community. So.
And I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, and I believe right now, looking at Amy, I'm going to look at you a little bit. I think right now, these bonds are to be paid off by 2032. But even if we were to pass this tonight and they were able to do the renovations like they've asked, they are still hopeful that by latest 2030, these would still be paid off. So, which in layman's term is great because that means our hotel taxes are up and it's way ahead of schedule. So hopefully we'll keep heading in that direction. So did I get that right, Amy?
Yes.
Pretty close. Thank you. So, all right, any other questions on, I'm just going to say these next two agenda items for the Grand Theater. All righty, thank you, Court. All righty, next, I believe Greg, is Greg with us? Greg is not with us.
He is.
He is? Oh, there he is. Okay, thank you. You just want to make an entrance tonight? Is that what it is? I mean, Greg, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
That's
How are
great.
y'all?
We like to hear it. Welcome. So what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I want to go over a few things before we dive into what you have in front of you, but
It's all
The reason-
positive though, right?
yes, the reason why we're bringing this to you is me and Kim have been working on trying to update contracts and stuff. In that finding, we found that we didn't have any updated or current or any kind of file of documents from Johnson Control. We've reached out to Johnson Control several times. The only way I even got one contract that we had was threatening that we will have to terminate y'all if y'all can't provide us anything. And it's something that was from 2009. And for what I'm wanting to do is save the county money, so that's why we're here. With us moving to these contracts, this will give us, we already use Landmark for our sprinklers and for our backflow inspections. When Johnson Control comes and does their inspections, and it's just for these two buildings, other than the extinguishers, they do all three buildings. They'll come and service this building and then the first floor of that building. Then they'll come back another time and service the two other. It's a little bit annoying sometimes because I have to sit here and work with that, and sometimes I'm very busy. It's hard to schedule all that stuff. With going with one provider, one vendor to be able to make sure everything's being done, but also saving money. With the cellular dollars, it's something there too. Those provide an AT&T and Verizon line, so if one goes down, we have coverage. With that being said, everything between the annual sprinkler monitoring, all the annual tests, all the monitoring, we'll be saving over $7,000 a year in cost if we switch this now. And like I said, we have no up-to-date contracts with Landmark, with Johnson Control, we have the one that we just did for the monitoring for the new fire panel that we approved, and that's the only current one that we have, so we would be just updating these contracts and giving all the, it's basically a one-stop shop, because Landmark can do all these inspections for us. They already do partial inspections for us. I figure it would be easier on us to be able to get all that done. And the savings is a lot, in my opinion.
About 5,000 a year is what it's saying on here, so.
Well,
That's a
and
great
that was just for the monitoring, and after that, Landmark came back with the 3 contracts that you have for the actual, like, inspections yearly, and it was an additional, like, 22,000 something a year that we'll be saving. So about $7,000 a year. Now, when they do have their inspections, if they do find some faults and stuff, that's not included in this cost, but that's all of them. And that's something that's an additional cost. That's a standard though. But this is the initial monitoring and inspections that we have to have done.
All right, what questions do we have for Greg on this agenda item? Squire Wisman.
Judge, just a general question. By moving all of the monitoring to this company, will we need an additional document to come back to us to cancel an existing contract with the other company that we've been experiencing those problems with, or should we do that simultaneously?
I'm gonna ask her.
I think from my understanding.
We don't have a current contract.
There's not a current contract in place.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, I think if there's no current contract in place that anybody can put their hands on, I think a letter that says we no longer need your services will be sufficient.
As long as you're all comfortable with that, that's what I want to verify.
Like I said, but from what I've gathered.
Yeah, there's no current, up-to-date, any kind of contract that I've seen.
Squire Tanner.
Yes, when I see where, if finance, it's budgeted and you give the numbers and lines where it is. The question is, what's the total amount of the contract with this new company, and would that not have to be bid out?
Well, it's per building, so they have it.
Per
if you-
building, it
Yeah,
doesn't
so if
matter.
you look at, there should be several contracts in there, so there's 315 West Main, it's $2,050. That includes the monitoring and the phone lines that'll be for the year of 2026. Same thing for 321, it's the same price, monitoring, inspections, phone lines. And then with the courthouse, with it just being bigger, that cost is like 3,000 something. So, I mean, you add that total cost up. The only difference that we would pay this year would be adding the cellular dollars to the panels. With that, I mean, just alone in monitoring, it will be $5,000 that we would be saving yearly. You're losing the two landlines that are costing us $80 apiece per building, per line.
Well, I'm not disputing it's gonna be a savings. I just wondered if you weren't supposed to have a competitive pricing at least. But I'm just questioning, I'm not saying you should.
As far as I've been told, I did not have to have that.
This is a pre-existing relationship we
Yeah,
have, right? And
yes,
it's
we
an expansion
use-
of the current services to cover something
Yes,
we're.
yeah, we use them in they do backflow in all the buildings, they do all our backflows, and then they do partial sprinklers in the courthouse.
All right, what other questions we have for Greg on this? Greg, as always, I appreciate it when you can save the county money.
Yeah, I try to do that the best I can.
Yep.
So,
All righty, thank you very much.
thank you all.
All righty. This is getting ready to become the Belinda show for the next, I'm not sure how long.
Well, I'm gonna hand it over real quick.
Oh, come on. Your name's all over the next like 12 items. I'm like,
I'm just gonna be like-
Fire protection.
And Aaron's here.
First of all, how's Belinda doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank you for
Great,
asking.
thanks for
Hope
being
you
with
guys
us.
are all well.
Want to submit another
Okay.
price?
So the first thing we have is the youth affected by opioid and other substance abuse, forgot the whole title, grant that was tabled last week. And Wanda Joyce has discovered a different grant opportunity that they feel is a better fit, and they would like to remove this item from the agenda.
Okay, so item number 12, you would like to remove from the agenda?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Will they be coming back to us at a later date with another thought?
Yeah, Amy is here tonight.
I saw her. I
Yeah.
knew she wasn't here just to hang out. So are you looking at, you'll come back probably with something, a different avenue?
Well, yeah, it's our next agenda item.
Okay.
It's what yep.
It's been a long day. Okay. Go ahead, Belinda.
Okay, so
Keep my mouth shut.
the next item is authorization to approve a resolution to apply for a Mentoring for Youth Affected by Opioid and Other Substance Use Grant with the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention from the Department of Justice, and Wanda Joyce Robinson would serve as the subrecipient. What? See, it has been a long day, all around. Thank you, Amy. All right, so we'll try that again. It is an application to apply for an Office of Justice Programs Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative Grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. That's the one. And Fiscal Court would apply on behalf of Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation as a subrecipient. The application will be for $2 million over 4 years, so $500,000 per year. And Wanda Joyce will provide 5% or $25,000 per grant year to Fiscal Court for our cost to administer the grant. And Amy is here, as we discussed, to tell you more about the proposed project.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Belinda.
Thank you, Belinda.
Welcome, Amy. How are you?
Thank you. Glad to be here tonight. Thank you. Really, this grant just supports the capacity of the work that this court has allowed us to do over the past 3 years. It's really been just incredible, the development of our programs. 3 years ago, we were really nothing, just a volunteer army. So this funding will provide targeted community prevention initiatives. Additionally, it will help us better understand our community's needs through further data assessments. So the first year of this project involves researching, planning, working with community partners, gathering data. And then through further data assessments, we'll strengthen our partnerships with the health department and an initiative that we have started through the county attorney's office with the Safe Streets Initiative, being able to work more with that. We believe at this time that we're really perfectly positioned for this grant and ask your support to continue to move forward.
I do want to just make sure everybody heard when Belinda did say that, because when grants come to us, one of the things we worry about is our staff's time. And so there is money figured in this grant per year to help compensate for the fiscal court managing the grant, correct?
5% each year is
Okay.
what we have budgeted.
I just want to make sure everybody heard that, because I know it's always a big concern for everybody as far as, these grants. And I will say again, thank you for all you all are doing for our community. I think it is making a huge difference. I'm excited that you all are finally getting data built up as far as what you are doing in this community. So it's very, very good. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks for being with us everyone. I'm going to
Microphone.
throw my question to our treasurer. I just want to make sure that 5% is going to cover all of the work that will have to be set aside here in order to take this on.
Yes, Belinda and I worked on that number, and it's, is it 25,000? How much does it end up being?
25,000 per grant year.
Per grant year, so yes, that
And it's
covers.
for 4 years.
All right, what other questions we have for Amy or Belinda on this grant? Squire Westman.
Judge, just relatable, maybe not specifically about this, but something I'd like to request. We've had so many grant applications coming through, and so every one of them requires so much work, and poor Belinda is fantastic, but her time is only so much to spend with us. I'm wondering if we can start, maybe when applications come in, or if there's a way to put together a little bit of a reporting to us about where we are currently with the amount of staff allocated time. So I'm imagining at some point we're going to exhaust Belinda's time as our grant writer in terms of availability for reporting of grants. I know we have some others that our other departments administer for specifically that, like our solid waste, about 75% of her time is allocated and required by reporting for grant funds. So I'm just kind of wondering where we're getting there, because I've been very vocal about, at some point, I think we need to consider a second grant person to help administer that program, which ideally will help us all and be able to bring in more revenues and that kind of thing, but I just wonder about that.
That's a good question, and we have meetings quite often. Belinda will come to me, and I know all of us send her things, I send her things, and so it's really a weekly conversation. We sit down and say, how is your time management? What time is best spent where? Is this grant worth going after or not? Belinda, you want to speak on that a little bit?
I did want to say, for this particular application, which will be a complicated application, Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation is actually writing the application. I will not be writing it. Elizabeth will be working with them on doing that. It will be a little bit of time as far as going into the portal and filling it out, because I have to do that because I have the access and the credentials for it. I will say, as far as the reporting on this, much like the Second Chance Act grant, they will provide the information for the reports. So it does take a little time, but it's not excessive. And the financial reporting, if it remains the same as the Wanda Joyce Robinson financial reporting, is also, just because of the records they keep and how tidy it is, has not been overly burdensome either. So, I think we have a good system in place, the way we are able to work together on these. So I'm not concerned about this one being overly taxing. taxing on any of us, or, and then Amy and I kind of have figured out how we manage it. So I appreciate it, but I think this one, and I know you weren't talking specifically about this one, but this one I feel like we can more than manage, especially with the funding that's allocated.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for Amy or Belinda?
Judge, just another comment if I can too. I was working on another grant application and sending some information to someone last evening. And with the federal shutdown right now, I'm wondering how that's going to impact, if we could just, if you will give us some reporting, if there's any problems or if we need to act in any way to help. I imagine that it's going to be a situation where things open back up and suddenly the deadlines aren't moved and everyone's got to hurry.
Quick turnaround.
As usual, so just if we can do anything, it'd be supportive, of course, as always. So.
Unfortunately, yes, that's out of our hands. And even
Yeah.
Aaron could probably speak on the buyout program. I asked, we had a meeting the other day, and, let's say that's 22 properties that were already approved. Well, everything's at a standstill now. Everything's shut down, so.
And I'm really troubled. If you go on some of the federal websites, the language that is at the top of every website right now and what it says is really troubling.
We'll probably talk all night about that, Squire. So.
Yeah.
Let's keep positivity moving.
Just,
so.
No. So the community knows,
No,
right?
no, absolutely.
We have some programs. I've got some flack in the last 2 weeks about you all are holding up progress and things, and it's not us.
Yeah,
right now,
no.
it's the federal government for a lot of programs that we have absolutely no control over.
Exactly. And a lot of people say, well, the state's still moving, but yes, they're receiving the grants from, from the money from the Fed. So it does shut them down too, to a certain extent. So, Amy, thank you.
Thank you. One last comment I wanted to say is, my staff and board are completely committed to fundraising efforts, the time, long hours that it takes to write a grant. We're committed to that work so that we can actually have the resources to do our work. And honestly, that would not be possible without Franklin County Fiscal Court, hands down. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. It's a team effort.
It is.
We're going to change this community for the better. Glad to be part of it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Belinda.
Thank you, Amy.
Belinda, next.
This is authorization to approve an attestation to follow accounting best practices for the health department on behalf of the Yes Card. At our last fiscal court meeting, all of the new MOU and attestation documents for use when granting opioid funds as we move forward were approved. And during the presentation, I mentioned that I'd be bringing a slightly revised attestation to follow accounting best practices for the Yes Card specifically. This is that document. There were very minimal revisions needed. The health department will be accepting the funds on behalf of the Yes Card, and state law requires them to use a cash basis accrual, which necessitated the revisions you'll see. Both the county attorney and the treasurer have reviewed the document, and I'm requesting fiscal court's approval to use this draft as the attestation to follow accounting best practices for the health department and Yes Card to be eligible to receive opioid funds.
So just to simplify this, it's basically, so we can't give the money to the Yes Card program itself. It has to go through.
It has to go through the health department, correct.
And they'll distribute it.
Right. And the health department just said, as you can see, there's just 2 sentences where they
Yep.
talk about a specific process gap, and they're not allowed to use that because of state law. So we just had to change that for them.
Perfect.
And I wanted to get your all's approval before I send it out to them for signature.
Okay. Any thoughts, concerns, comments on that? All right, Belinda, keep moving.
Okay, so, I gotta find my page here. The next few items are.
This is where you pull somebody off the
Yep,
bench.
that's
to
right.
help, huh?
The next few items I'm gonna turn over to Aaron, because they're all FEMA reimbursement related.
Thank you very much. Aaron, before you begin, can you go ahead and state your name and who you're with so everybody in TV
My
land-
name's Erin McCauley. I work for ER Assist. I'm a contractor for the county.
Thank you.
So we've got a couple of things here, which,
We are on.
15.
just trying to figure, we've got 2 MOUs to talk about, so I guess it matters which order we go in. Let's see. Okay, so the first one. So this MOU is between Franklin County Fiscal Court and the Administrative Office of the Courts. And it's essentially just paperwork for FEMA to show that any any expenses or anything that was done on behalf of Franklin County Fiscal Court to the courthouse immediately following the disaster in the emergency period was done in the best interest of the Franklin County Fiscal Court, and also becomes the responsibility of Franklin County Fiscal Court. And we put that in place so that FEMA knows that the fiscal court has that responsibility, and it becomes an eligible project that way for public assistance.
Okay, any questions for Aaron on this agenda item? All right, go ahead, Aaron. to the next
Okay,
one.
and then the next MOU, this one came through from Administrative Office of the Courts, again, for the courthouse. And it was developed in order to provide both the AOC and Franklin County Fiscal Court with assurities and where money would come from, and how that money would be reimbursed to the AOC in the event that Franklin County received money back from FEMA for this project. So if in the case that there is no money that comes back, which is not what we anticipate, obviously, but there's a clause in there that that responsibility would be the AOC's. Sherry, you got your hand up?
I do.
Oh. Are you done, Aaron?
Oh, thank you. I just want to make note on the agenda abstract in the second paragraph, which is the background paragraph. It says the courthouse is located at 321 West Main Street.
Yeah,
And the courthouse is actually at 222
got it.
St. Clair.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that that was different in the document.
Yes,
because
the
it all says
document is
222.
correct. Yeah,
The only reason I bring that up is just to preserve an accurate record here for the court.
Yep.
Sure, thank
Very
you.
much, Squire.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
So
Anything else?
basically, in layman's terms, because that's what I like, AOC is going to be, because they owe us right now a little over $2 million, I believe, is that right? So basically, when we get reimbursed for that, when FEMA sends us the check, this is just saying that we will basically give it to them and not keep it.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure.
Judge,
Squire Wisman.
it's the time to ask. Something was brought to my attention today. The courthouse is under the ownership of the Franklin County, Kentucky Public Properties Corporation,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's a big thing.
which has been administratively dissolved by the State Attorney General's office, or Secretary of State. So are we the authorized agent to be entering into these agreements? If
Yeah,
there is,
Max, what was that under? We've looked that up, we've talked to attorneys,
Each county has a responsibility for providing a courthouse for AOC. That's by statute. And so the Franklin County, the holding basically it's a holding company for the bonds. It was created simply for a bond mechanism. So the fiscal court is actually the one who is responsible for providing that facility for AOC. So they would be the entity.
and they operate the programs within and have records. AOC holds
AO
records and
AOC is responsible for the contents. The county is
Correct.
responsible for the building.
for the building. So
So
that's
the
the
county
cleanest,
has to
to
provide a
Michael's
building.
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the straight to the point.
Yeah,
The
and
part.
so, in order to comply with statutes, we have to provide that building and get it back up.
That bond has been expired, or?
No, the
it
bond is
not?
still in
So
place.
Should that entity be involved in any of the agreements, since the deed was physically transferred for the courthouse to that holding company rather than the fiscal court?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But
I wanted to ask and verify
We had
that
the
there's
original
nothing.
bond attorney that drew it up like an '08 meet with us to make sure everything was the way it should be. And he said, yes, per KRS, it's set up exactly how it should be and it functions how it's supposed to legally.
I just didn't want to get into a federal agreement.
Yeah,
and
we've-
suddenly there's a hiccup that.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, but yeah, we've had multiple meetings over this because it's been a weird situation, to say the least.
Yep.
All righty,
Okay.
is that it for you, Aaron?
I think I've got
No,
one
you
more
have
if
one
it's
more,
right.
that's right.
Yeah, if it's
Yep.
next. So my next one is again about the courthouse. So we had RFQ that went out for construction management firms to respond for the courthouse. We had two companies that responded. Last week, we had a selection committee meet that made up of 3 county employees, and they heard presentations from both of those companies. They completed score sheets and submitted those score sheets based on the scores. We have Codell Construction Management, and we have Trace Creek Construction. The winner, based on the scoring, was Trace Creek Construction. And so asking the court to approve the recommendation of the selection committee to move forward.
All right, any questions on this?
I just have one question. So with the 2 contractors, the time frame, everything was done in the correct time frame, and there was no extensions, no exceptions?
What, I'm sorry, I don't.
I'm turning their bids in or turning.
Oh,
their
no, they
paperwork.
were, both bids were submitted within the allowable time frame.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
And that, Squire, I did ask Aaron that, and it's all electronically stamped or whatever, how it goes, so.
I just wanted to
everything's on
clarify.
the up and up. Yep. Aaron, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty.
Judge, could I just ask, since
Sure.
she's here,
Yeah.
if you would give us a little update on the buyouts, because I just brought up the federal shutdown.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is going to affect our
And we had a
program.
Initial round of buyouts, and we were expecting to have maybe some more come back in that are effectively on hold.
Yeah, so everything is on hold right now. The 22 that we had approved and the additional 14 that we have, everything is on hold. Initially, our contact was told that he could work on this, but nothing else. And then a few days later, he was told to go home and not even work on this. So, yeah, it is on hold. That doesn't stop us from moving forward with the 22, though. We're able to start procurement and move forward with some of that stuff that will be lined up for the others, the 14, once they get on board as well. So hopefully everything, shouldn't be too much of a delay because of it.
So it's my understanding funds may have went ahead and transferred for the 22 properties that we already approved as a court, that the deed title train and some of that preparation can go ahead and be done, or no?
I don't know where those funds are.
I don't think the funds are
I would say that the funds are still with the federal government.
They are. I signed a document, but I don't think they were ever transferred prior to the
Yeah.
shutdown, so we're kind of in a holding pattern now,
Yeah.
so.
I'm concerned. We don't know how long this might go on. If it's something that takes us 3-6 months and puts everybody in limbo into the winter, I'm concerned maybe I'd like to know if there's anything that maybe we as a court can do to help assist some of our folks that are waiting on these buyouts to move their lives forward.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything we could possibly do, expecting some reimbursement or something that we can move forward or whatever we could
I
possibly
think maybe
do.
we take that to a committee meeting or something, because it's not on the agenda. I appreciate you asking, but we could probably talk about this all night, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I believe Amy is next up. Good evening, Amy, how are you?
Good evening, I'm fine.
Good, thanks for being with us.
So this agenda item is for the court to approve the court facilities local government reimbursement form. This is an estimate of expenses incurred to maintain and operate the judicial center. The estimate of $442,200 is based on the actual cost for previous years. We do an audit annually too to catch up anything.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Amy on this agenda item? Oh, I'm sorry, Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. Madam Treasurer, is that based on like a square footage that's sent over by facilities?
There is a limit based on
Yeah.
the square footage, and we can't go over that limit, but the 442 is actually based on actual expenses from a previous year.
Okay. So there's your answer suffices, thank you. Sorry.
Squire Harris, do you have your hand up? Oh, Squire Wisman? Okay, I thought I saw
Just
one.
wondering if, Amy, maybe if you could elaborate, this has got me thinking about, and I meant to ask you earlier, I'm sorry, about the temporary relocation of some of the court's operations within other county buildings, and how we're gonna go about figuring out that square footage or that reimbursement rate for actual costs, like the jail facility. Has that been part of the conversation, or do we need to come up with some new agreement for the time
Well,
period all that is?
I will say that that is separate from this.
Yeah.
There
And it
have
has
been
been,
some
Because
discussions.
this is last year's.
It has been separate.
totals.
We have discussed this with AOC, and for the period of time in which the courthouse was shut down, April, I believe it was starting, the 8th through September the 1st, they've agreed that we don't have to pay, or the county doesn't have to pay those rent payments for Commonwealth Attorney, the Victims Advocate Office, and the County Attorney's Office for those months. And so we're in the process of getting with them and getting that agreement hammered out and fine-tuned in order to see what exactly that reimbursement or the actual rent that would be due for those. And so, but as far as charging somebody for, I guess, these other facilities, I don't know if that's going to be turned into FEMA.
Erin just left, but that has been a conversation we have had, so, unfortunately, we didn't ask before she left, but she might be able to answer, but we can circle back on that.
Yeah, but that's all, those all have been
Just
discussed.
wondered where those were at.
Okay, Amy, thank you. You gonna keep going?
Keep going.
Oh, this is you, okay.
This is me.
Wow, you're jumping on in.
But I am going to pass
I know
it on
you are.
as well.
That's I wasn't sure who was gonna hand this
But
one.
before I do that, agenda items 19 through 24 are concerning our employee benefits for the calendar year of 2026. Deputy Kennedy and I have had multiple meetings with our insurance broker to discuss our current plan and the options for the upcoming year. Our goal was to keep the health plans as comparable as possible to our current offerings while also staying within our budget. If you remember, we budgeted for a 20% increase. To do this, we're expanding our plan offerings to 2 PPOs and 1 high deductible health plan. We do have Benji Mars here with BIM Group, and he's going to give just a brief summary of this renewal process and answer, but one of us will answer the questions that you have. Benji.
Thank you, Amy. And before Benji starts, and I appreciate you being here, I just want to thank everybody that has worked on this because this is a big, big lift. I think everybody knows what's going on basically in North America with healthcare. Not a whole lot of options. And I think you all have worked very, very hard to come up with some very good solutions. So I just want to say that right off the bat to Deputy Kennedy, Amy, everybody that's worked on this, and you, Benji. So
thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you. So yeah, let's get going.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm sure Amy and Jack are ready for me to go and tired of seeing and talking to me. We started this process back in midsummer. We could see claims escalating, so even though you're fully insured, we do get some limited claims data that just justifies the expenses that United Healthcare is paying on behalf of your employees compared to the premiums that you are paying them. And we start to see that loss ratio elevate above 100%. That's sort of a red flag to us where we need to start meeting a little sooner than just renewal time and discussing what might be coming at us. So we saw cost escalate pretty significantly over the last 12 months in particular, and over time, United's taken a pretty significant loss. So that being said, this summer, we agreed that we would go through an RFP process on your behalf and scour the market. It's, as you mentioned, it's limited choice in Kentucky, with United Healthcare and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield being the primary insurers. And we're fortunate in the fact that they're 2 of the largest insurers in the country, and I respect both of them. They serve our employer groups well, and we're fortunate that we have 2 quality carriers that are national in scope. So both employees can travel all over the country. They have in-network access at the major centers of excellence, the Mayo Clinics, the MD Andersons, the Vanderbilts, those places where they might need transplants or advanced treatments, as well as right in our own back door, we've got great healthcare facilities as well. So with that being said, we looked at everything available from a very creative perspective of benefit. We looked at financing of benefits, everything from fully insured to partially self-funding to level funding. We explored MERPs, we explored HRAs. Those are just creative ways to combine fully insured and a little bit of self-funding on a smaller scale. And ultimately, we set that in motion, so we sent the RFPs out. We have an internal analytics and underwriting department. We do a lot of self-funded, a lot of large group employers. We work with a lot of governments, a lot of large employers in this area and around the state. And so they do our own internal projections of what we think is a fair and reasonable cost based on your utilization. It may not feel fair, but it's based on what the market bears. Our underwriting department projected a 37% increase or thereabouts. We thought that would have been a fair renewal. And shortly thereafter, we received the United Healthcare renewal, which came in at a 50% increase. Not trying to pass judgment on whether that was fair relative to our perspective. They see all the claims we don't. We only see what's trailing about 2 months behind. They see up to real time. They see what's been pre-certified, what's coming at them. They have a different vision and purview than we do, but we use data that's best we can to give you an ideal projection of what we think is fair. So they came in at 50%. Anthem on a fully insured basis initially came in at 43%. From there, the fully insured or the self-funded options, we received a lot of decline to quotes just because the elevation of claims. It's not that you had 1 or 2 single claims that are sticking out. That's not the case. What we're seeing within Franklin County is what we're seeing across the country, and that's the very expensive cost of medications for specialty situations that are maintenance long-term. They're long-term medications, and these are medications that are $100,000 and $200,000 and $250,000 a year, sometimes indefinitely. They're prescribed for life. So it's not unique, it's not unusual, but it is driving the cost of health care. As the Judge mentioned, you look at any headline news, this is the largest health care increase in history of the United States in terms of dollar amounts going up for January 1. That's, you read any trade journal nationally, that's what we're seeing. So from there, we weren't left with a lot of options other than to leverage relationships. And working with Anthem, that's what we did. We got 43% down to the low 30% range. Then we started looking at your other benefits that they also offer as an option, and that's dental, that's vision, critical illness. We looked at their partner, which is the standard. They don't own, they're partners. We looked at them for life and disability, and we were able to bundle up all of those with the standard and with Anthem, which got us down to a 26% increase. That's aligning benefits as closely as possible. Co-pays, deductibles, those kinds of things. There's a couple things that aren't perfect, but for the most part of what the majority of people use, those co-pays and benefits align. What would be most different for people is the formulary. And that's which drugs are preferred and which drugs are not preferred. Typically it's very similar, but there is some disruption there, and that happens anytime we move from one carrier to the next. Anthem chooses which drugs are preferred for Tier 2 versus Tier 3. United chooses the same thing. For the most part, we generally see less than 4 or 5% disruption from that formulary, and some of that 4 or 5% is positive. So some people are paying a Tier 3 copay today, and they will pay a Tier 2 going forward. Some people are paying Tier 2 and will be bumped to Tier 3. Generally, specialty stays in the category. Those are the expensive medications we talked about that are, some of them are very amazing drugs and life-changing. For those folks, generally that does not change. And then for generics, typically generics are generic. So, 88, 90% of almost all prescriptions are generic, but they account for less than 10% of all your costs. It's the 1 or 2% that are accounting for 60 and 70% of all your costs. So benefit-wise, moving to Anthem, we're at 26%. Knowing where your budget was, we went back to them and got permission to offer a second PPO plan that changes your benefit structure slightly. Your pharmacy stays the same. Your co-pays would stay the same on either plan option that employees could choose from. Which is the most used benefit of the benefit structure are going to be your pharmacy copays. So those stay the same on either choice. But the focus of that choice was twofold. We took your budget and we found a plan design that would allow employees' payroll deductions to stay the same today on the high deductible health plan, and they would stay the same on what we're calling the core PPO plan. There's modifications to that, which I think are in your packet. You'll see a slight modification on deductible and max out of pocket, and some copay differentials for primary care and specialist. In ER, pharmacy stays the same, but that gives those that are most concerned about their paycheck an opportunity to keep those costs the same. I also want to point out that it's very important that with that benefit, that the county is still contributing like $230,000 more next year than this year. So it's not that the county's peeling back a contribution, you're actually contributing considerable amount more. So that gets the opportunity for the employees to keep payroll deductions the same, or the other option is for them to keep the benefit structure the same as it is today and pay the difference in cost. You've got those contributions in your packet as well. But based on state and national benchmarks, which we're constantly benchmarking data, the payroll deduction for keeping the benefits the same benchmarks far less than what the average payroll deduction in Kentucky is for a PPO plan. It's over $150, and that'll go up pretty substantial for next year once the benchmark's done. For your employees to keep that payroll deduction the same as it is today on that plan design, I think it was about $28 a month. Somewhere in that ballpark. So it's considerably less than the benchmark. The plan design's still very favorable. It's going to cover the same procedures. It's going to cover the same doctors. United and Anthem are slightly different, but in Kentucky, the networks look very similar. There's 100% of all the facilities in network today. That can change on either carrier, any carrier at any moment. But I think we ended up in a very good position. I think you all were wise to budget 20%, which is above an inflationary trim, sort of seeing this on the horizon. And then I think it worked out well with Anthem's willingness to come in a partnership and consider a business decision versus just the pure economics. We had nothing to leverage them with United, and no ill will there. They had to make a business decision, and they hung at 50%. We did demonstrate, had we stayed with United and we maintained your 20% increase to your budget, what those payroll deductions looked like. And that would have been a $375 increase to family to stay with United. It would have been a $138 increase to those on single coverage, currently paying zero, would go to $138 to have stayed there. So we were very fortunate that Anthem came in and to some degree saved the day. It's still a hefty increase. We're not making light of that, but we were in a really bad position leading up to that. So that being said, the other benefits that are being offered, we've got the Anthem Dental, which would actually be a reduction in cost. We've got the Vision, which is also a reduction in cost. We've got the life insurance, which is a reduction in cost to the county, and then the voluntary life insurance stays at the same cost. There's also a critical illness plan associated with that, and that's a reduction in cost. So the other benefits, it's not just you're getting other benefits bundled that might be more expensive. They've aligned coverage as closely as possible, and in a lot of instances, it's actually better coverage for those. I did receive some great questions walking in. I wasn't exactly prepared to answer those, but I have the answers now with regards to, there is a tuition credit program that's a bonus under the current Guardian products. So when I enroll in Guardian, I sign up, they give me points that go into a bucket allocation that can be used for tuition in the future for kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews. There's a definition of family members that those points can be accumulated and used towards. And people have been accumulating those points, and they've been very, very well aware of that. I did find out that those points do not go away. So whatever they've earned and established up to date, they keep indefinitely. And then they can use those towards, I think there's about 400 colleges and universities that accept those credits. That can change in the future because it's a very unique program. It's not something that employees are paying to participate in. It came with the Guardian as a value add. So people may have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 points, more or less, just accumulated as a result of participating in those programs. And the way that works is if they find a college or university in the future for their children, grandkids, whoever they want to pass those points to, then they can use that to pay for a part of the tuition. There is some asterisks and caveats within that program that the universities don't have to honor any more than 25% of what you've accumulated for the first year tuition. So, for instance, if I had 40,000 points accumulated over a lifetime and I found a college with $40,000 of tuition, the most that they would have to accept from me is $10,000 of my points. So most people, I would think, probably have less than 4,000 or 5,000 points, give or take, but those points stay. So even though we transition over to the Anthem products, they keep their points and they keep them indefinitely. If we ever come back or enter into another benefit that has those programs associated, they can continue to add more to that. So they don't lose anything based on what they've earned. It's just they continue, that they would cease earning the ability to earn those points going forward. As the Anthem products nor the Standard offer that. And actually, Guardian is really the only carrier I think we work with that has that bolted on as a value add to their services. So that I've said a lot. I'll take a deep breath and open up for questions and try to answer the best I can.
I want to thank you again, Amy and Jack, because this is a big thing. And I think everybody on this court can agree, employees are our number one asset. And what we are trying to do here is what's best for our employees. And, you know, when he throws numbers out that, you know, if somebody wanted to step up and it's $14 per pay period, well, that's a whole lot cheaper than the state average of, you know, $128, whatever that works out to be. So I think you all have worked hard on this, and it's best case scenario, you know, with giving our employees the best that we can give them. So I just want to thank you all again. I also want to ask before I begin, I know we had Squire Dykes zoomed on, but we didn't think she was going to be with us the other day, and Squire Tanner was sitting in for her, so she had to get off, so we didn't have a quorum. So I was going to ask Squire Sebastian or Squire Tanner, that was in the deep discussion of that finance meeting, any thoughts or anything you wanted to say to the court before I open it up?
I will say, last year, when healthcare was a topic before the committee, there was a discussion that we hadn't been able to negotiate a rate that would not be sustainable going forward. That was made, unfortunately, very painfully clear to us last year, which is why the treasurer was very thoughtful in the budget preparation with the finance committee moving into the current year that we're in now. But we were told to prepare for a dramatic increase. So, looking at the options that were laid on the table to us, I think that these options that were presented were very thoughtfully prepared with the bottom line to the employee and the best possible plans that could be brought forward, because hearing the number of a 50% increase sent shockwaves through the members on the committee. No one wants to be able to, that's very difficult to absorb by this body. And then one of the key things that we didn't want to do was pass any large costs on to our staff. We want to demonstrate to them that they are absolutely valued from the beginning of the morning to everything that they do in between when they come back the next day. And that is something that's important for them and for their family. So trying to work through this was a considerable effort. And I truly believe being able to go back and offer an option of 3 options, not just one, saying this is the only thing that we have, but bringing forward 3 options so that you can look at what serves you individually and or your family better. That is a wonderful thing, faced on where we started with a 50% increase. Squire Tanner.
Well, I was in on that committee meeting. Squire Dykes could not make it, and I was there. But anyway, it was a very good meeting, and you presented everything out, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of questions for you that I can't answer. But I will back up one thing. Whatever we have to look at, whatever this county can afford to give its employees, it's about that. It's about a two-way street. It's not just about how much we can afford. It's also about what we're giving the people that work for us. They come here and they dedicate their lives and their days to the county. And it's our responsibility physically and also to take care of the employees, which is all tied together. It's a two-way street. And to have 3 plans to pick from is not very prevalent, I don't think, across this Commonwealth. And most people are beginning to have to share more and more money with more and more with their employees. And I think what I saw yesterday or day before, whatever day it was, one day, I forget what day it was, but when I was there, anyway, it was very educational to me, and I believe there's a whole lot of thought went into this, and we're all trapped in a trap where it ain't gonna be but one. It looks to me like it's only gonna be anthem for the world here before long. The state of Kentucky's only got, what, 2 or 3, maybe? And that's numbing to me, because it's going to be hard to negotiate when there's only 1 or 2. But anyway, I've said enough.
And I also want to say, we talked about other things, about fitness plans, smoking plans, all types of things, and they have looked at about everything they could look at. So anything that we've talked about in the last 2-3 years, they discussed in depth as far as, is it worth it? Is it worth hiring a fitness coach to try to get people healthier? We went through everything, and they have more than I have. So I think this is the best thing we can do for our employees. And again, I want to thank the committee and the Finance Committee for listening. And Squire Harrod.
I want to thank the Finance Committee and Amy and Jack for all the work they put into it. It's all about the employees. And, you know, from what they put in to what we put in, and at the end of the day, they have good health insurance. That's what it's all about. I want to thank Amy for having the foresight last year to budget for this year. So thank you very much.
Any other questions for Squire Wisman?
Several, Judge. I just want to kind of walk through this. I know a lot of our employees are going to be watching, and some getting text about some questions already, so I wanted to put out there, and you know, these negotiations happen in committee meetings instead of this whole court, so I want to make sure it's here, televised. Benji, thank you for being with us. In my reference from your presentation so far, it doesn't appear that there's going to be any diminished coverage or diminished drug options, but could you say for certain that if there's any direct changes that our employees can expect in this policy change?
As it relates to the healthcare, the biggest change is just the formulary, of which we don't have any control. Anthem chooses tier 2, tier 1. So, but in terms of, you know, procedures that are covered, in terms of conditions that are covered, no, they're not going to experience differences in that. Each carrier approaches the way they compensate physicians for services differently. So co-pays aren't impacted by that, but sometimes deductible expenses are. I think most people, based on the feedback we've seen, are going to be, I think it's going to be an enhancement to them. It's really hard to say a blanket statement of, you know, across the board, everybody's going to be improved, because everybody's situation is unique. New services are coming on the market every day. New drugs are coming on the market. Drugs are going off patent. Generics are coming on. As a matter of fact, we're getting updates almost weekly for formulary changes with every carrier, based on patents, based on new drugs coming in, based on how many days we can get things prescribed. So those things just naturally change, and it's just hard to make that statement. But I think for the most part, what's called like a 98th percentile, I think most people are going to be happy.
But overall, generally, we haven't went in and elected to remove certain treatments or medications or anything at all to negotiate this better price.
Absolutely not. Yeah, we did not remove any benefit. We didn't cut anything away. Matter of fact, in fully insured, we don't have those options. Those plans are filed with the Department of Insurance. There's regulatory that we pick them off a shelf. We get to interchange the deductible, the co-pays amounts, but in terms of what's covered, that's set in stone. That's not a decision we have the ability to make, and we're not cutting anything out.
Squire, one thing I want to add too, and one of the things that stuck in my head, you know, I know when we switched, and we kind of had to switch to United, a lot of our employees weren't happy. Maybe some of the doctors didn't take them, but Benji did tell us that the state is on Anthem, and so in theory, we're in Frankfurt. That should help a lot of people with their doctors and things like that. So I think that's a positive thing too.
The state also uses the standard, the partners, I believe, right?
They use Anthem Dental. They use,
So it kind of align us with what most of our community has now, and I think that would be a positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can, maybe it's best for Amy, but just the one thing that's sticking in my mind that I'm sure was a dog whistle to some of our employees is about paying when they're considering their 100% coverage, that they may need to pay to retain the certain current level of deductibles and cost. That is an option here to retain those levels that we currently have, but there's two options for absolutely no cost out of pocket and additional monthly contributions, right, to maintain the insurance that we're going to provide, but it would be with a change potentially in co-pays and deductibles to maintain that no payment status.
So I'll take a stab at it, and you correct me. So on the high deductible health plan, there'll be one option this year, there'll be one option next year. Those payroll deductions are going to be exactly the same if you're on that plan, as well as deductibles and the plan design. So high deductible health plan, you've got the same thing next year as this year, just a new carrier. Then on the PPO plans, which is where the majority of people are enrolled, they'll have the option to keep the benefits that they have in place there. Those will be co-pays, deductibles, the same things they would pay for services today, they would pay then, and they would pay an additional payroll deduction to keep that. Or if they're more focused on their payroll deduction, they could elect the PPO, what we're calling the core plan, which would keep their payroll deductions exactly the same as they are today. And the office visit co-pays go up slightly, for instance, $5 on primary care, I think it was. Their deductible would go up and the max out of pocket would go up to keep their payroll deductions the same.
And can we talk about specifics a little bit? Maybe the PPO employee coverage would be under what do you call them, the basic plan, I suppose? You have a core plan and a basic plan.
Core and a buy-up.
Okay. Would be no change in individual single coverage. For employee and family would be $505.57 versus a PPO plan with potentially higher deductibles, higher out-of-pocket. The employee coverage would be $28.63 a month, and the employee and family would be $585.15. So a difference of $80 between those two plans to allow a family to have lower deductibles, lower out-of-pocket versus higher. So effectively what the policy covers, we're still covering all employees 100%. It's just spouses, children, and family that are going to vary a little bit, whether you want to maintain the co-pays and deductibles and out-of-pocket at current level or a reduced rate for a little bit more out-of-pocket, out of payroll. Am I stating that correctly? Is I'm kind of reading it here?
Let me restate just to make sure.
Yeah.
So for single employees, to keep their payroll deduction the same at zero on the core, what we'll call the core PPO, the new plan that we introduced, yes, that would increase deductible, increase maximum, change the benefits. If they want to keep that coverage the same as a single employee, they would pay $28.63 a month. That's not per pay period, that's per month. So they would have that as a single, and then a full family, if we just skip to that tier, they're currently paying $505.57 per month. To keep benefits the same, they would pay $585.15 for full family coverage.
Would you care just to talk about the HSA option as well, just quickly in those same terms?
Absolutely. The HSA, they are paying, and I'll walk through the tiers, employee, employee spouse, employee child, and family. Today, they're paying $0, $269.47, $255.69, and $388.21. Next year's plan with Anthem, that'll be exactly the same. Same benefits, same cost.
And I think, Squire, what we had talked about, because Benji made the comment earlier, really everybody's different. Everybody's family's different.
Right.
So I think what we had talked about is them spending some time potentially with the fire department, with the road department, to kind of have any questions that employees or families have answered, because it'd be hard to sit here and, you know, I understand where you're going and what we're trying to figure out, but there's so many dynamics in everybody's life and different medicines and things like that. So they are willing to sit down and talk to everybody individually.
Yeah, we'll have our team as well as, hopefully, we plan to have in timing and scheduling, time of year, right? We plan to have somebody from Anthem here as well.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned that, we hire, and I want to be sure that everyone understands that, at least in my opinion, we are going to always cover our employees fully, 100%. And I don't want it to be considered, at least in my mind, in the future going forward, we're not going to start diminishing and expecting a contribution from the employees, even though that's optioned here, to give an option to employees that are more conscious of what's going to be out of pocket. If you have family, lots of little kids that goes to the doctor regularly, it may be worth paying a little bit more upfront each month than having the higher deductible and the higher pocket, right?
I agree, but let's not lose sight also that we are still, from this point on, contributing an extra like $222,000.
$236,542.
It's almost $250,000.
So I don't want people to lose sight of that. Like we, the fiscal court, are doing everything we can to keep the best benefits for our employees. So, and again, thank you to Amy for that foresight. Squire Tanner.
This is more of a comment than it is a question, but the higher deductible, the higher out-of-pocket, basically, is no cost to the employee if it's a single plan.
Correct.
If he opts to go with a lower deductible, the lower out-of-pocket is $28. That's
Yes.
$14 per pay period. That's $7 a week. And usually, from my experience in the health industry, is that the younger people are going to not worry about it being more out-of-pocket. It's the seniors that's going to want to pay the extra money. So in the long run, does that skew the next year? I know that's looking into a magic ball is impossible, but when you do that, does it skew the next year's deal?
It's a great question, and we can get deep in the weeds on actuarial science, but that's to some degree been accounted for in the way they present the plans and the pricing. That they know there's going to be what's called adverse selection, right? The folks that are more apt to be using it, that know I'm going to have a baby, that know I'm going to have a procedure, are more apt to buy the richer benefit, if you will, and pay the difference. But that's why there's a premium difference. So it'll be a little lopsided, but they factor those things in to some degree coming into it. So we'll watch that as well. We'll start to at some point get experience on if enough people participating across the various plans, we'll try to get experience data for the three plans so we can see what's being used and expended, but they'll blend everything together. But there's a lot of actuarial science in that gets to what you're asking.
Well, I've seen that before. I ain't saying it. You don't ever know what's going to happen a year down the road or 7 months, whatever it is.
Sure.
But it could affect it.
It absolutely could.
But as they pointed out, the judge and Sherry and the other people around here, nearly $250,000 this county's paying more than they did. And that's a sizable amount of money in anybody's language.
Absolutely. It's over $1,000 per employee that you're contributing more next year.
That's a good number. Squire, listen.
Judge, the converse to the potential higher out-of-pocket payroll deductions, could you speak a little bit about the vision and dental, because it's a 7% deduction from current rates for dental and a 23% for vision that effectively makes up that difference, so the employees in some ways maybe come out a little better with this policy for at least the next year. Now, who knows what happens after that, but.
Yep, great questions. So, got a lot of spreadsheets here. And I didn't bring my readers, so I got my flashlight.
I was going to say something about that, but I was letting it go. Oh, was it?
That's why I'm using round numbers on so let's see. All right, so let's start with vision. So vision is a 23% reduction in cost. And that's guaranteed for 3 years. We negotiated a 3-year deal on that rate. So that'll stay the same, no changes. There are a few minute changes to consider. On your current plan, retinal imaging is not available. It's up to a $39 benefit under the Anthem plan. The medically necessary contacts, it's not because I have poor vision. It's because I have a condition that requires me to wear contacts. It's more rare than just people choosing to wear contacts instead of glasses. Those are covered in full, and that's not the case on your current plan. So those are slight enhancements. Vision is very straightforward: glasses, contacts, eye exam. Good out-of-network benefits as well, but I don't think you'll have a problem with network. If I go out of network, I simply pay and I submit a receipt and get reimbursed up to certain amounts. So the vision coverage it's pretty straightforward: glasses, contacts, eye exams. Then on the dental, let me get to that spreadsheet. Here we go. So dental, we've got the same annual maximum benefit. You've got $1,000 annual maximum benefit. Every person covered by the plan gets 2 free routine cleanings a year. So it's a very good benefit. There's also some additional benefits that people probably are not aware of, that if I'm diagnosed and going through cancer, particularly I think radiation and chemotherapy, I can get 4 free visits a year. There's some other diagnosed conditions that allow for that as well. So very good benefits. The max, again, is the same. Orthodontia lifetime maximum per member, that kind of resets. So Guardian gave them $1,000. Coming over to the new plan, they got a fresh $1,000. But it's generally a 50-50 benefit. So if I've only got $300 of payments left, I don't get to apply $1,000 to $300. I split that 50-50. But they do have an enhanced benefit. So nobody loses there. They potentially gain. And then under endodontics and periodontics, currently the benefit is a 60-40 benefit, meaning that the employee responsibility is, deductible 40 and then 40%. Under the endodontics and periodontics, it goes to 50%. So those are the only differences on the surface between the plan designs themselves, and it's a 7% reduction in rates. So today I think the full month premium is $22.13 on single to go to $20.47. Family goes from $76.42 down to $70.69 a month. That's the full cost of premiums. So they align, and as I mentioned earlier, the state of Kentucky has switched their dental over to Anthem. So you're going to have a very nice network to choose from, and then if there's any issues too, they're always willing to step in and work with us. There are dentists we're starting to see across the board that, and there's not many of them, but there are some that just don't accept insurance. And if they have a large enough practice, they can choose to do that. But just like on vision, I can still pay and submit and get reimbursed. So I'm not fully out if I run into that situation. So those benefits, and then when we talk about the basic life, that all aligns. It's a 9% reduction to the county, which is in the grand scheme of everything we're talking about, it's only about $500 a year. So it's not a huge savings, but it is a savings nonetheless, and it's guaranteed for 3 years. And then on the voluntary life insurance, those rates are age banded in 5-year increments. Those age bands stay the same. They're guaranteed rates for 3 years. They align exactly as what they have in place with a significant enhancement. AD&D is now added to the voluntary life. They currently don't have that. So AD&D is, it's tough to talk about sometimes, accidental death and dismemberment, right? So if I die as a result of an accident, it doubles the face value of my life insurance. And if I lose sight, use of hands, arms, feet, limbs, it pays a percentage benefit. So that benefit is added to the voluntary life. Anything that anybody's currently elected is grandfathered in to move over. And then they'll also offer some guarantee issue for people that may have waived in the past and would like to get it now, that they'll be able to enroll without evidence of insurability. So there's some enhancements. I think on the bundled package that we're bringing over, we don't see very little downside. But there are, exceptions. I just asterisk that to say there's exceptions within the bowels of the policy for very unique situations that could be different, but I'm not aware of anything.
Thank you. I think it's important we walk through some of that for our employees watching. We'll all be bombarded with questions.
And again, they're willing to really kind of sit down with employees and answer the specifics, because I know everybody's going to have different situations. So, Benji, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, thanks to Jack, Amy, Vicki was involved some on this, so just everybody, and the committees that met, because it's been a journey. So, thank you very much.
Appreciate you all.
Yep, thank you
very much.
Amy, I believe you're back up.
Yes, I just want to thank you, Benji. The knowledge that he has, I could have never presented that to you. So I'm thankful you were here tonight to answer those questions and walk us through this.
Yep. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Are we ready for me to
We
move
are
on to
ready.
25?
Yes.
Agenda item 25? Okay. This is the authorization to receive the quarterly report that I've submitted to the Department of Local Government. This is to show you that I have submitted that.
Any questions, concerns, comments on this one? Alrighty.
Judge, I'm sorry, I wanted to just step back one thing. I was expecting Amy to talk about this HRAs, that we're maintaining the contributions at the rate that we have been indefinitely for the same policy, or the transition of the policy, right?
Sure. I can go over that.
Yeah, I just wanted to state it because I didn't get to that document item. To
Okay,
state that
so we don't need to go over it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Squire. Any questions for Amy on this one? Alrighty, next, Amy.
Okay, the next agenda item is to authorization to open a new account to segregate the bond construction interest proceeds for potential arbitrage liability. If you'll remember, when we took out the 10 million bond in July of '23, there was some discussion with Compass Municipal Advisors about interest. We are capped at the amount of interest we can earn. And so I brought before you in August of this year an agreement with Amtech for them to run the calculations on our interest that we've earned and how much we could potentially need to pay back. And so when they did that, I did put that report in your packet. They gave us a liability of approximately $177,000. And Compass suggested that we just open a new account with U.S. Bank, move the funds there, leave them there until we will do another arbitrage calculation closer to either when we close out and have used all the funds, or at the 5-year mark, and we'll have an exact number. So I would like the authorization to be able to open that account with U.S. Bank.
All right, any questions for Amy on this one? Squire Weston.
Amy, thank you. Was the recommendation, or did they have any additional recommendation on contributing a certain amount? This is effectively to the end of July from July 2 years ago was $177,000. Of course, we're only 3 months more and 3 months more interest. Should we be looking at an annual or a monthly contribution to that, or wait till?
No, I would say we wait until that bond is closed out. I have not used any of the interest. We've earned over $700,000 in interest. And so if we need to move more, we'll have that money available. But I won't bring before you an obligation of that money until we have a final number on that liability.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they didn't have any additional recommendations that were.
No.
Squire Tanner.
Thanks.
One of the questions we asked during the committee was, could we draw interest on this new bank account that we're setting by? And I think you told me that we could draw interest, but we'd have to pay that back too.
Sure, that interest on the interest will also be part of the calculation. Yeah, that's a good question.
But I will say, and Squire Sebastian, I see, it's amazing what you just said, that we've received over $700,000 in interest.
Yes.
I mean, that is amazing. That number right there
Yes.
is amazing. So
And-
I want
but-
people to realize how fiscally responsible we are being.
I don't believe it's been done before, has it?
Not that I know.
And the government doesn't allow us to make more interest than they
Yeah.
deem as a certain number.
Yes.
They cap it. That's the thing.
It's
So
a
Go ahead, Squire
tax
Sebastian.
I was just going to ask if our treasurer could repeat the amount of interest
Yeah.
that we have.
Yeah, we're all on the
because
same page.
It funds programs here.
It does.
It is essential.
Yep.
And it is a revelation of light that we gained this information at a conference,
Yep.
brought that back, and that demonstrates the power of going to these conferences and information that we pick up and return back to the staff who then in
Huge.
turn put that into practice, and it is working on behalf of every resident of Franklin County.
Absolutely.
So those things have paid dividends, and
So-
this demonstrates it better than any other thing that we can do. Sorry.
Just to be clear, though, this bond was not, it's with U.S. Bank, and it was not part of our investment policy. However, it has been accruing interest over the time, $758,000.
But I think the larger
Yeah,
conversation here is about,
the
What-
money we're making on our money.
yes, yes. That is the larger conversation. And we're plowing it right back into services
Well, that
that
helped pay for
benefit
the
our
difference in
community.
healthcare, I mean, for instance.
Absolutely.
Squire Wisdom, do you have
I
any?
just want to make sure that, the community understands, we took a bond out, a loan,
Yeah.
that we're paying interest on, we're making payments on.
Yeah.
And we're making interest. So this one's a bit unique.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't got over the hurdle of spending that money. But we're in a unique position too, that we've had some tremendous returns and gains on, that time value of money here. But it's because we're in a unique circumstance that we've held on to ARPA funds, we've held on to these bond funds and some other big ticket funds that we intend to use. I think it's the will of the court to spend on projects in the near future. So we can't get comfortable, or the community doesn't need to think that somehow we have a big pot of money that's generating lots of interest for us to do things indefinitely. I think it may be worth having a conversation about, generally what kind of pot of rainy day fund, or it effectively works like an endowment, right, that we maybe set aside permanently as a recommendation of this body to generate that kind of interest, to maybe offset something like future health insurance growth cost or something. But we're in a unique position, but I kind of hope we might use it as a learning activity, that we set up some kind of fund that we intend to keep there for that interest-bearing ability indefinitely. So just want to say that.
To Amy's point in the meeting the other day, we are thankful that we have a rainy day fund, because as I said earlier, rebuilding that courthouse, and that number might even be closer to 3 million that AOC owes us currently. So if we did not have that fund, we would have to go borrow that money to pay out of pocket, because we're responsible. So, and we've talked about, with the disasters, and, we need so many months for payroll, and it's doing, I see what you're saying, Squire, so.
It could have been the flood this year, could have been a lot
Yeah,
worse.
exactly.
We got out okay in the end, in many ways, but we could have had something that happened like North Carolina, that we needed millions and millions setting aside just to operate local government, so.
Okay, Amy, next.
So this agenda item does, it is part of our cash vest relationship. We have been investing ARPA money. We've allocated 1.5 towards Farmdale, and that has been invested, earning interest. And, not just that, but before we had allocated other ARPA money, we had invested it. So over time, we have earned interest of about $700,000 there. And so in working with Belinda, Farmdale's pretty close to using the 1.5 million, so I will not be reinvesting that. That is coming due this month, so that will still be earning interest, but just not the higher interest of a CD. But I'd like to go ahead and open up a 6-month CD for the interest, the $700,000.
Alrighty, next.
This is the first reading of Budget Amendment Number 2. The bulk of it is, and this is an ongoing thing, I'm having to amend in expenses for the flood repair at the Judicial Center. So that's $1,026,000. I'm also amending in an award for the bridge on Farmers Lane. And then also amending in from reserves the engineering services for HMB for that bridge. The jail fund, if you'll remember, the court authorized this in the last fiscal year, but they are now ready to move forward with that, so I'm amending those projects in, and also a grant for the replacement boards. And then a carryover, we did not carry over the 2 dump bed plows of the LGEA money because we thought that was going to happen last fiscal year, and it didn't. The order didn't come in, so I am carrying that over. So all of these things are increasing our budget by 1.8 million, bringing our budget to 69.6. I would like to also give those numbers excluding capital expenses and federal projects. It's still increasing it by 1.8, bringing the total to 48.1 million. And this is the first reading. It will go to DLG for approval after the first reading and back to you for the second reading.
All righty, thank you.
The next agenda item is a budget transfer that's been requested from Planning and Zoning. The court authorized that the Stantec contract June 24 of 25 for the stormwater audit. So there is money in another budget line where I can move that into their engineering services. This does not affect the budget. It's just a transfer.
All righty.
And my last agenda item, I have the report for the 3 months ending September 30th of 25. Receipts is 7.2, expenditures at 13.9. Adding in the fund balance brings the total to 22.9. Of that 22.9 bond balance, just a reminder, that does include bond money and it does include ARPA. So the balance of our bond right now is 2.6 million. ARPA, again, is the 1.5. That's the Farmdale money. And I also have the expenses and the revenues as of October 10th.
Where was it?
Amy, you said something there. We have a bill from North Shelby Water that made me think that was for their final draw of ARPA funds.
Right.
So I believe the only ARPA funds we have outstanding is that 1.5.
That's right.
After that point, right, because those need to be spent by next year.
Yes.
So.
And
okay,
it sounds to me like we're on track with Farmville.
Good.
Yeah.
I wanted to verify that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
That's
done,
all
Amy?
I have.
Wow, I don't know. You and Belinda are really stealing the show tonight. I mean, it's not like you ladies. I mean, woof.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy.
All righty, next payment of claims. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comments to Kim, Squire Sebastian on payment of claims? Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. I am looking at page 4, general fund.
Okay.
And it is item 015212-348. There is a there's bamboo cutlery set. I'm assuming that's not one bamboo cutlery set for that amount. But I guess the larger issue is, or the larger question I have is, what is the purpose for that requested expenditure? Do we know?
I did not get to ask Allie that before she went for her conference. I'll get back with her when she gets back and let you know.
Okay.
But I do have the invoice. It is not just for one set.
Okay.
It's like
It just
1,000 or something like that.
Okay, it just says one set, so it makes you think that it's just one pretty high price. Maybe the guy, the Kung Fu master, when he walked all across the world back in the 70s.
She has so many events going on. I'm assuming it's just, biodegradable, cutlery things.
I assume, but
yeah. No, it's a great question.
It just doesn't have any kind of explanation. Then on page 5, and maybe this is a question for a different time, and somebody can tell me if it is not appropriate here. Our concession sales out at the golf course, I just wondered how those are going, which is the 01-5403-434. I don't know if the Parks Committee has discussed how, we're seeing an uptick in sales, just to kind of talk about the very positive things that have going on at Lakeview Park.
I don't have that answer, but we can ask Charlie to kind of report on
They've
it.
expanded their offering of libations,
Yeah. That's a great question, but
I just want to call everybody's attention to page 2 of the road department budget, because now we look at the difference of what we're spending on fuel. We have 2 fuel types, on-road and off-road, and that is a wonderful thing. So I just can't say.
We're on the same thing. I was
Yes,
Jack and I were
sir.
down there today, and I was talking, Cody's still here, and we were talking about that, for off-road, we finally got that tank, and there's like a 50 cents difference per gallon.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna add up quick.
Yes. So it's going to be a
See,
cost
Cody,
savings.
it's not
So-
just me. We're all in the same boat here.
So, just kudos.
Yep, no, amen. Amen to that. No, we thank the road department for that. That's a huge thing. Squire Wisman.
Judge, I brought it up last meeting, and I just want to state it again. I talked to Kim before the meeting. I'm just getting concerned that I see in the bills regularly where we run out and buy something from a big box store or from an online service provider, and I'm worried that that is becoming so commonplace that we might get in trouble with our bidding mandates. Over a certain level aggregate per year, we probably should be bidding out some of these services. So I've asked Kim if it would be possible to kind of year to date give us some totals where we are with some of those funds per provider, let's say, something like Amazon.com, right? That I'm concerned we may get a little sideways with some of our state mandates there. So just wanted to bring that up again, that we really should be buying the local whenever we can and buying off contracts that we have in place whenever we can.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm just flipping around too, looking at that, I do see a small one for Amazon, but then we have, Borough Pest Control, that's local, Cardinal Office Supplies, local.
Yeah.
Hybrid Springs, yes, we have a Lowe's, but then right under it, we have a couple Lions Lumber. So I do think they're trying to be cognizant of that, but it's always good to remind department heads that we do want to shop local, so that is a good point.
And not just generally that, but the aggregate of a year, if we spent, I think, more than $5,000 with a local company, right, if it could be part of a larger bid package,
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah, I think it's 22,000, but yes,
Whatever.
same principle, yeah. Okay. All right, anything else for Kim on payment of claims? Kim, did you make notes of that one for Ally? I think that was the only one that we needed. Just,
Yes,
if you
I
could find
did.
that out, just to let us know.
I will.
Okay. All righty, other business. Anybody have any, Squire Sebastian?
Thank you, Judge. I just want to remind the court that Friendsgiving is at Thornhill on October 29th from 12 to 1:30. That is the same day as our meeting, but it's before our next meeting. So, and everyone is encouraged to bring canned goods that will benefit the Helping Hands Food Pantry at the Capital City Activity Center Meals on Wheels. And I also want to make the court and this entire community aware that Title III-C funding reduction has left a $100,000 shortfall in the Meals on Wheels component locally. That's only here in Franklin County, so it is much larger statewide. The Sauer Foundation Board of Directors has stepped in, and they made a $50,000 one-time donation to the Capital City Activity Center that can only be used on the Meals on Wheels program. And that lessens the impact to the Meals on Wheels shortfall, but it does not totally cover that shortfall. So there's $50,000 left in that shortfall. The center here is the only senior facility that has a full-service kitchen staff that actually prepares nutritionally balanced meals. And that's very much like, unlike other centers, they actually purchase packaged and prepared meals. And those turn out to be at a greater cost. So, that expense of freshly prepared, nutritionally balanced meals is coming at a less cost here, so we're seeing we're trying to do everything we can to ensure that meals go out. The center has already been actively fundraising for the Meals on Wheels program, but I want to make sure that this body and the community is aware of that $50,000 loss. Because one, it eliminates a hot meal going to a senior who may not be able to get out. Most of them have mobility and other physical issues where they have limited range of motion in their own home. It also provides an extra set of eyes on a homebound senior. So it's a well check, just to make sure everything's going on. It's also a human connection with another person, because that meal driver is the only friendly face that a lot of these homebound seniors see every day. So the meal that the senior center is providing can help that senior maintain independence longer in their own home. So it has a larger benefit than all of the things that I've already talked about. So I just want to make sure that this body is very crystal aware of something that has befallen a program in our own community. Now, the senior center is looking at ways to address that internally first before it comes out and sees, I guess, what the ripple effects ultimately are. But at this point, we know there's a $50,000 shortfall. So I just want to be very clear.
Well, yeah, I think it's time for some of our members of the community to step up and support our seniors, and I know we always have, and, we've had conversations with Marshall, and we're gonna do whatever we need to do, but what I hate about this whole thing is it's turned political. I was reading some newspaper stuff about it today, and, they're blaming the governor, but the legislators didn't put it in the budget, and it's just like this back and forth thing. So that's what I hate about it. The seniors are caught in the middle, and I think that's what gives politics a bad rap right there. Skardakis?
I agree with that, and I think we're gonna see more of
Trying to say
that,
it nicely.
unfortunately. You did. I mean, it's gonna do the same thing with kids' programs
Yeah.
and all of that. It's the same thing. I'm curious, since I was not at the last Finance Committee meeting, did you all discuss Fresh Start Frankfurt?
No.
Okay. So I think you canceled because we were gonna have another meeting on the 20th, since I wasn't gonna be at this one, and you
I've been
canceled
meaning to
that.
catch up with you about it, because I didn't know about that meeting, so I didn't know what it was about. So
That's
yes.
what it was partially about that.
Okay.
And I don't, it's a very simple, it should have been done before.
Right.
I think it's my fault that it wasn't done before, so I'm gonna make sure this I stay on top of this.
Okay. Let's just meet and talk about it, because I need to be brought up to speed about what we're talking about.
It's just the opioid funds that we
Oh.
gave to all, to several nonprofits, and Fresh Start Frankfurt. We had an old application when the previous director left and the new one came in. I
Okay.
missed an email, I think is what happened.
Okay.
So I would really like to use 10,000 of that to give it to Fresh Start Frankfurt, which is what I would have done. I would have voted for that in the
Right.
beginning.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we can discuss. Squire Sebastian?
Sorry, I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay. I just want to bring the court's attention to just some information I had passed along previously. November 23rd is the day that the court has pledged, which is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, to prepare a meal. I just need to know before that day who may be able to be there from this body. And I've also been asked about what members of the court plan to participate in the Walk of Awareness, which is on Thanksgiving morning, the 27th. So if you could just tell me maybe before we leave, because Brian has asked me to give that back to him. So those two things I don't need to know right now, but I need to know fairly soon.
I'm in.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep, thank you. Squire Whitson?
Judge, I just wanted to echo comments of Squire Sebastian. There's a misconception, especially with that Meals on Wheels program, that it's often just within the city incorporated area, but it goes to everyone in this county, and sometimes it's the only lifeline that allows seniors to stay in rural homes throughout the county. So I wanted to echo that. But I also wanted to, if I could, ask, Title III was mentioned, where the shortfall is coming from. If anybody could state exactly where suddenly $100,000 got cut out of Franklin County's elderly
Well,
homes.
yeah, it was a state deal. It was supposed to be like $14 million in the budget, and the legislators knocked it down to like $9 million. I'm just throwing numbers out, but, so it's across the state. Squire Sebastian, is that pretty close to, I think, what was going on?
And it is statewide, it's
Yeah.
not just here.
Yeah.
All I can speak to is what is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, but the Courier Journal has ran an extensive series of articles
Yeah.
over the week to talk about what is happening in Jefferson County, the impact there.
Yeah.
I think the Herald Leader's picking something
Yeah.
up for the counties in the bluegrass area to discuss that as well. So I just don't want to try to speak for another county.
There's just some finger pointing we all saw today.
Yeah.
I think that's utterly ridiculous. The blame lies with the legislature who didn't budget the money,
Yep.
in my opinion, point blank. And now the cost is burdened by the elderly who require these meals to survive every day. So regardless of it,
Right.
the finger pointing that's happening at the state level right now, I hope that everybody can come up with a solution. And I've said before, we're not going to let the elderly go hungry. We'll find money somewhere in this
Yeah.
community. So.
What time was the, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
what time was the awareness walk?
The walk of awareness seems like it steps off at like 8.
It's early.
8 in the morning, okay.
If you
Yeah.
want,
So
we get a Jenny
Thanksgiving
to send
Day,
blanket,
Please.
calendar invites to everybody,
do
because that's
that,
what
but
I
I
used to
do the one
reply
on
to
the
if that would
23rd.
help. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good. No,
It was
no.
all on mine.
I'm trying to. Squire Sebastian, do you have any more other business?
No, sir.
Okay, sorry, I don't mean to point. Anybody on this side? We ready to go vote?
Go for it.
No, I was just gonna back up some things on the Meals on Wheels. $50,000 was given by the foundation. That's probably a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Yes, I I was was clear in saying that was a one-time
So
only.
then technically,
and
they're
that-
gonna be 100, if things don't change in the next budget year, which starts in January, but then the budget wouldn't go into next July, even if you got it refunded. So that, there's gonna have to be some consideration on what's gonna happen with that program. Is it gonna be cut by that much? Is
I
it
think they're
are we
making
gonna not find anybody, have a waiting list, et cetera? I mean, there's a lot of questions to answer.
But
There are-
I think they're making headway.
Yeah, and so I sit on their finance committees as well, that's here. So it's one of the things that is foremost and present on that committee's agenda.
Squire Tanner, we might have to crack into that Squire Tanner Trust Fund, you know what I'm saying?
Jump right in there. That'll feed 2 people for a week.
All righty, Court, we're ready to go to voting session. Oh, Squire Blackburn, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add, as Squire Sebastian was talking, I've been following this as well and reading the articles in the Courier Journal and other publications, but I have noticed a significant increase in fundraising efforts by the Senior Activity Center. So they're putting feet to the floor and going at it. So it's not a woe is me thing. It's a let's pull up our boots and do
No,
it.
and I'll add, since we're all talking about this, but when I go to the Bluegrass ad meetings, I get updates every month, pretty much, what all the surrounding counties that are in their ad. And let me tell you, Franklin County is right there at #1 for home delivered meals. And to Sherry's point, they're home cooked and they're delivered immediately. They're not frozen. We're the only county in the ad that does that. But I mean, we're pretty much over, Lexington and some of the other bigger counties. And it makes me very proud that our senior center is taking care of our seniors better than anybody in our district. So out of 19 counties around us. So yeah, kudos to Marshall and her team and Squire Sebastian for, sitting on that board. And we're going to take care of our seniors just like we take care of our kids. So, okay, we're going to go to the vote. Everybody good? Alrighty.
Better be fast.
Today is October 15, 2025, and this is our work session. Clerk, please call roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Here.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Dykus.
Here.
Squire Harrod.
Here.
Squire Tanner.
Here.
Squire Wissman.
Present.
Judge Miller.
Present. Authorization for approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of September 24th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization for approval of the minutes from the special meeting of September 29th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive additional sheriff's 2023 excess fees.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the sheriff's official receipt for property tax bills for 2025.
So moved. I'll second.
Did you get that, clerk? Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the county clerk's quarterly report ending September 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Second. Sorry, Tanner.
Squire Tanner can have second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the county clerk's claims for preparing tax bills for 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the change order for hose retrievers for the fuel tanks.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Here's the big one. Y'all might as well sit back. This is the second reading and approval of an ordinance of the County of Franklin, Kentucky in connection with one amendment of ordinance number 2024-12, which relates to the collection, distribution, and enforcement of a transient room tax. 2, the amendment of ordinance number 15, series 2006, which relates to the enactment of an additional transit room tax of 2% pursuant to authority of KRS 91A3921 to be applied to the retirement of proposed dedicated tax revenue bonds in the amount sufficient to provide net bond proceeds not to exceed $3 million for the purpose of financing renovation, repair, reconstruction, and equipment to the Grand Theater situated in the Central Business District of Frankfort, Kentucky, to constitute a fine arts center, sorry, I lost my place, useful to the promotion of tourism and such ordinance, which further amended by ordinance number 8, series 2015, which relates to the application of the additional transient room tax to the County of Franklin, Kentucky, dedicated tax revenue refunding bond series 2015, Save the Grand Theater project, which were intended to refund the County of Franklin, Kentucky, adjustable rate dedicated tax revenue bond series 2007, Save the Grand Theater project, Inc., for which the additional transient room tax was adopted. This amendment concerns the application of the additional transient room tax to the County of Franklin, Kentucky, dedicated tax revenue and revenue refunding bond series 2025, Save the Grand Theater project in the amount not to exceed $1,800,000, 1800000, which are intended to finance the renovation, repair, reconstruction, and equipping the Grand Theater, and to refund a portion of the County of Franklin, Kentucky, dedicated tax revenue refunding bond series 2015, Save the Grand Theater.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Sorry, I'm stalling, you notice I'm taking a little breather. All those opposed?
I had to drink for you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, second reading and approval of an ordinance of Franklin County, Kentucky relating to the sale and issuance of up to 1800000 County of Franklin, Kentucky dedicated tax revenue and revenue refunding bond series 2025, Save the Grand Theater project, acknowledging the previous imposition of an additional 2% transient room tax to be applied to the retirement of the bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of a bond purchase and loan agreement among the county, Save the Grand Theater, Inc., and the purchaser of the bonds and related documents, authorizing the sale of the bonds and taking other related actions.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Max, did you write that up? You getting back at me for something? That's
Judge,
a
can
lot.
I ask for a clarification on the next one? We had a question, we didn't quite get to it. Should this landmark sprinkler item, should it have been bid? Was the question that didn't quite get answered.
I don't believe so. It was our, Max,
Just wanted to.
that it was an existing contractor.
I don't believe so. I think they were an existing contractor already.
Okay, just wanted it
Yeah, no.
to be said.
All good.
Thank you.
Thanks for the break there, Squire, by the way.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, repeat the last one, really?
Actually, it should have, but that's all right. I don't want to do it.
Authorization to approve the agreement with Landmark Sprinkler for fire alarm monitoring and annual inspections for 315 West Main Street.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to remove item 12 from our agenda, from our voting agenda.
Well, I have, on my voting sheet, I have two more that have landmark sprinklers before I get to that, because there's two different addresses. Do y'all not have that?
I don't.
Yeah, I have the same thing for 321 West Main and 222 St. Clair.
Sorry, Judge.
No, don't be
I
sorry. If
apologize.
you all don't have it, they don't have that?
No, they don't have the voting
Okay.
sheet.
No,
Sorry.
don't be sorry. No, I appreciate you doing that. So let's just hold that thought for 2 seconds. Authorization to approve the agreement with Landmark Sprinkler for fire alarm monitoring for annual inspections for 321 West Main Street.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the agreement with Landmark Sprinkler for fire alarm monitoring and annual inspections for 222 St. Clair Street.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Squire Sebastian, would you help me on this one?
Yes, sir,
Thank
Judge.
you.
I would like to make a motion to remove item 12 from the court's voting agenda tonight.
I had seconded that, Judge.
Okay, first and second. All those in favor of removing that item, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item is removed. Thank you. Authorization to approve a resolution to apply for an Office of Justice Programs Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative Grant, United States Department of Justice, and to serve as recipient of the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation as the subrecipient.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, clerk?
Who's second?
Here.
JW. Mike.
Flip a coin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hey, I'm excited. Everybody supports it. Authorization to approve an attestation. Attestation. You know, when Belinda said that, I was like, I'm gonna mess that word up. I psyched myself out. To follow county best practices document for the health department to receive opioid funds on behalf of the Yes card.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the agreement of memorandum of understanding between the Franklin County Fiscal Court and the Kentucky Administrative Office of the Courts, AOC, related to disaster recovery efforts for FEMA, public assistance eligibility for the Franklin County Courthouse.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the agreement of memorandum of understanding between the Franklin County Fiscal Court and Administrative Office of the Courts, AOC, to outline roles, responsibilities, and financial obligations related to the remediation and restoration of the Franklin County Courthouse following flooding damage incurred in April 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to award a bid to Trace Creek Construction, best bidder for qualifications regarding the Franklin County Courthouse renovation project.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the county judge executive to sign the court facilities local government reimbursement form.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to transition health insurance coverage to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield from United Healthcare beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that clear?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to transition dental and vision insurance coverage to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield from Guardian beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to transition critical insurance coverage to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield or standard from Guardian beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to transition employer-paid life, AD&D, and voluntary life insurance coverage to standard from Guardian beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to renew employee-only medical waiver plan through a health reimbursement account, HRA, beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to contribute to employees only health savings account HSA beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive Treasurer's Quarterly Report ending October 31, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Get that clear?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the treasurer to open a new bank account.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to authorize the treasurer to open the following certificate of deposit for $700,000 for a 6-month on behalf of the fiscal court to improve investment earnings.
So moved.
Second.
Jump quick on that one. Yeah, nice job, Squire.
That's one making us money.
Jump in
It's not
anytime,
spending.
jump in anytime.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Good job.
No vote will be taken now. This is the first reading of amendment number 2 to ordinance number 4-2025 related to budget for fiscal year 2025 through 2026. Again, no vote will be taken at this time. Authorization to approve budget transfers for fiscal year 2025 through 2026.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Payment of claims. Is there a motion to deny any payment of claims? No motion was made. Let the record reflect claims are to be paid. Authorization to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. We are adjourned, court. Thank you very much.